man, this movie kept me on the edge of my seat the whole way through. It does a whole lot right, but it also does a whole lot wrong. However, towards the end, it did get me begging for more. Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm pumped, I'm energized, I've kind of changed my mindset, but yeah, if you didn't know, I took like a short 1-month hiatus from uploading anything onto this channel because I felt like nobody really appreciated the amount of work that I've put into this channel. So help me out, like, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel and any of my other previous videos because 3.5 years in and I'm seeing absolutely no progress whatsoever and it's made me feel like shit. But hey, that's life, and as long as I pretend I actually have viewers and think of it in the long run, then I ultimately feel better. And hey, I'm not a quitter, you know, I'm not just gonna abandon my roots that easily, despite what anyone tells me. But anyway, Smile tells the story of a psychiatrist who starts seeing things after an incident with a patient. And throughout the film, she grows more and more paranoid that what's pursuing her is far more horrifying than one can imagine. So this is actually director Parker Finn's first ever full-fledged feature film, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong though, but I mean, this is a movie that is basically a continuation of his 2020 short film, Laura Hasn't Slept. Does that name sound familiar to those of you who have already watched the movie? Laura Hasn't Slept is essentially a prequel to Smile, I imagine, but the crazy thing about that short film is that it released for selected audiences around that time, but then it just completely disappeared off of the face of the earth. Like, you literally couldn't search for it or watch it online anymore. I read from someone that it was to avoid possible spoilers for Smile. I'm not going to comment on that, but what I will say is that I was able to watch it from that same person, and that got me really interested and excited for this movie. But it ended up in slight disappointment, and I only say that because it could have been better, I guess. Look, with that being said, I mean, this movie still had a lot going on for it with its nightmarish concept. It's like you're basically experiencing a nightmare with the main protagonist. And the great part about that is that you're in the unknown as well. You're in the same boat as them, trying to figure out, you know, the root of all evil in this movie, and that was the fun part. If I had to describe this movie in 3 words, it would be mystery, horror, and supernatural. The sounds, camera movement, cinematography, all made to put you on edge, and that's exactly what it did to me. A lot of the times it was suspenseful enough that my palms got sweaty, knees heavy, heart beating twice as fast, but I think most of that has to be due to the anticipation of something happening, and that something is jump scare galore. Oh boy, this movie, man. I hate jump scares. Not because they're actually scary, right? But because they're like shocks, you know. I'm most of the time forced to jump because it's just a natural reaction to loud sounds and sudden imagery you don't really expect. It's a reason I'm not a big fan of jump scary type horror movies because in my opinion it's such a cheap way to scare somebody. I mean, you can do it once or twice, sure, but this movie just had it littered almost all throughout. Like, so many jump scares that were predictable and just waiting to happen. Do you know what made it worse though? It was a packed house, right? Last night when I watched it, and I was seated next to these immature high school boys, right, who verbally reacted to almost everything that was happening on screen. Yeah, that's right. And I mean, every jump scare that happened, you could hear them screaming, and that fucking startled me even more than the movie did. Like, shut the fuck up. Fuck me. And I mean, there's ways of scaring someone without the need for that shit. This movie actually proved that at certain moments. There were times during this movie where I genuinely was like, holy shit, that's frightening. Or like, eye-openingly creepy in a way. Notably, once at someone's party, then once at a hospital, and then another one towards the end. Is that a spoiler? I don't think that's a spoiler. I'm just trying to tell the people who watched this movie already in the vaguest way possible so that people who haven't watched this movie don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, like I said, this movie is basically like you're experiencing a nightmare with the victim. But because it is a nightmare, or hallucinations is actually a better term here. But anyway, like it technically isn't really real, it is supernatural, right? So the sky's your limit, right? They could do anything they wanted, and we saw some pretty freaky shit, and I don't know if I'm really like a big fan of that. Because I mean, it's comparable to one of those instances where it's like, oh, it's just a dream or whatever, so you could come up with the dumbest shit possible if you wanted to, right? But no, like after fully watching this movie, the nightmarish scares felt warranted because they were all to do with the victim's personal life, so the freaky shit kind of made sense in a way. And I guess the jump scares kind of feel warranted as well, now that I think about it, even if they were so cheap in this movie, but it's because nightmares can be shocking. Sometimes, I don't know if any of you have had this, but sometimes I've woken up in the middle of the night, just jumped myself awake, and sometimes found tears flowing down my eyes, or just sweating profusely. Anybody had that? Yeah, because I sometimes had. And I know the victim wasn't really sleeping in this movie at all, but it's like she was having a nightmare in real life. That's why I'm comparing it to that. So yeah, so far, I mean, look, this movie, despite all the cheap jump scares, now that I think about it, is actually pretty decent. But I mean, since it's a mystery horror, the whole time I was wondering how they were going to end it, what the result would be, what the end outcome would be, like if they were going to conclude it at all. Now, this is where I just have completely mixed feelings about. Obviously, I can't reveal what happens, even though I really want to, but since my reviews are spoiler-free, I guess, I'm just gonna say that, look, I'm both disappointed, yet horrified, and kind of satisfied. Man, that final sequence was flipping insanity, and I guess the way the movie concluded is the total essence of like what a horror movie should be. My word, the movie kind of left me feeling a little bit empty inside, and I guess that's what you want. But I mean, as a result of that, like it left me wanting more because there's still a major unanswered question. I don't know if there's going to be a smile 2, or this is something us moviegoers need to figure out ourselves, or if that's just all there is to this movie. Oh man. Look, I'm pretty sure there won't be a sequel to this movie. Maybe, who knows, but for some reason a big part of me just feels like that's it, which is kind of a shame, because if that's the case, then this movie is still a mystery. But maybe that's what makes it scary. I'm going to give Smile a B+. As you can tell, I had a lot of mixed feelings about this movie. Like, some negatives I have about it can even be viewed as positives in a way, like the thing with the jump scares and the thing with the end outcome, So yeah, decent, but I'm still... I kind of still need some time to like think about it and to read like some other people's thoughts and analysis and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Like and sub if you enjoyed, and as always, feel free to check out any of my previous videos. Until next time.